Are we doing a clapper?
Oh yeah.
Do we need to do that?
Yeah, let's do it.
Thank you.
Yo, hit that beat. Hey, I'm Max Manna, and today we are making cinnamon rolls. I'm really excited about this because I am a lover of cinnamon rolls. I love it. Yes, I do. I grew up eating a lot of baked goods. Not to say that my mom made a lot of baked goods. My dad bought us a lot of baked goods. We went to pastry shops. There was one in particular right down the street from where I went to school, and from a mile away you can smell the icing sugar just lofting into the air. Wafting. What did I say? Lofting?
Yeah, which I
Yeah.
like. But...
Lofting, wafting, wafting. First thing we need to do to start off is some oat milk and some apple cider vinegar. So in a bowl, you're going to add about 180 mils of oat milk and 1 teaspoon of apple cider vinegar.
Tablespoon.
Rewind. 3 teaspoons equals 1 tablespoon. And if you don't know, now you know. And we whisk. What's now gonna happen is that it's just gonna get foamy. It's gonna get a little thick. And I'm gonna show you what that looks like in just a moment. You see that I've created some air in there, slightly thick in consistency, and this is just gonna help bring everything together in just a little bit. Our buttermilk is going to go into a saucepan, and the saucepan is gonna go on a low heat. The reason we're warming this up, we don't wanna get it too hot. If it's too hot, then it'll kill the yeast. The warm buttermilk will activate the yeast, giving us that bulkiness. The bulkiness, it'll just rise. Our dough's going to rise by the warm buttermilk.
Ooh. Look at that.
Kill the heat, let's move on. It's time to get the active yeast started. So in the same bowl that we've used, we're going to add 2 tablespoons of sugar. I'm using light brown sugar. Our dry active yeast. You'll know if the active yeast is active or if it's live once you start whisking everything together. If there's no bubbles, if it doesn't foam on top, then your active yeast is essentially dead. I'm gonna add about 1.5 teaspoons of the dry active yeast with our sugar. Now I go in with our buttermilk. Let's give that a whisk. And we'll whisk for about 2 minutes. So in this moment, we'll have a really sexy montage of me whisking. Welcome back. We are now moving on to the next part of this recipe, our dry ingredients. 256 grams of flour, all-purpose flour. I haven't tested this recipe with gluten-free flour, but if you feel adventurous enough, take a walk on the wild side. 1 tablespoon of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of salt, and 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda. Just bring that all together. You don't want any clumps. If you wanted to sift your flour, go right ahead. I didn't do that. 2 tablespoons of sugar now. 1 and 2. I'm using light brown sugar, but you can use granulated sugar if you'd like. Making sure that everything is well incorporated, that there's no lumpy flour bits or clumps of sugar. Though biting into a big clump of sugar in these cinnamon rolls would, I don't know, what do you guys think? Would it be awesome? Would it be great? Probably like, whoa. I try not to make anything too sweet in my baking. I always, when I see recipes and it's like 300 grams of sugar, I'm like, can we make that about 200 or 150? Now we combine 54 grams of room temperature butter. Let's see if that's, nope. The next one is gonna do it. 54 on the nose. Ready? Oh. 54 grams of butter into a warm frying pan. I'm just gonna melt the butter. You getting that?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Great. Here's our melted butter. Now we're just gonna combine everything. And I'm gonna continue to stir and mix everything until it gets a nice shaggy, rough ball of dough. Stirring as we go, bringing everything together. Butter. Butter. It might seem dry at first, and you might think, oh, I need more milk. Trust the process. Trust the process. It will come together. I promise. Look, it's come together. So everything's incorporated, mixed together, and it is a rough, shaggy ball of dough. I like where I'm at with this. We're just going to cover it with a tea towel, keep it warm, and let it rise now for an hour. Meanwhile, oh, hey, ding. Meanwhile, we're going to make our filling. Plant-based butter, light brown sugar, a teaspoon of cinnamon, just gonna eyeball that, and a pinch of salt. Now with the back of a fork, you're just gonna press everything together to create a kind of wet sand. There we go. Wet sand. When you weren't looking, I also toasted some pecans. With a knife, just roughly chop the pecans. How's it going over there? How's your arms?
Yeah, okay.
The hour is almost coming up. I think we're almost there. I'll stop there. We'll add our toasted pecans and then give that a mix. Cinnamony, sugary, buttery, pecan-y filling. Done.
1 hour later.
Now, once your dough has risen for about an hour, thank you very much, take it down, give a look at it, and it should double in size. Now give that a punch. Knock some of the air out. We're gonna lightly flour our dough to make it easier to knead. Just bringing this all together into my hands. There's our dough. And now I'm just gonna lightly knead and roll our dough into a ball. Lightly dust with flour. It should feel smooth once you start adding a little bit of flour. There's our tight ball of dough right there. We're gonna lightly roll our dough into a 15 by 8 inch rectangle. Continuously, lightly flouring. Take a rolling pin or an empty wine bottle, whatever you have on hand, and let's start to roll our dough. So making sure that you roll all the way through. Looking lovely and stretchy. Oh, I'll fix that. And if it does break, you can just patch it back up with your fingers very gently. That's about 15 inches. Nice, right?
Super nice.
Super nice. Moving on, we are now going to add our lovely filling. I'm gonna leave about a 1/4 inch around the border. Add dollops of the sugary mixture filling. What will happen is once you roll it up, it'll have just overlapping in different areas of the roll of this brown sugar, cinnamony, pecan-y mixture. We're going to gently roll our dough now. Start from the part of the dough that's closer to you, keeping it fairly tight, but gently roll as you go. It's working. That's satisfying. That's satisfying. Gently flour again. This should make about 8 rolls. With a bench scraper, with a knife, confidently make your cuts. Boom. See that? It's working. Let's preheat our oven now to 180 degrees. I'm going to lightly oil the surfaces. Just go around the edges. Now we're going to add our rolls. We're gonna add our rolls to the baking dish. So there you have it. We're gonna let them get acclimated in here. They're gonna prove a little bit. They're gonna rise a little bit. So cover that with a tea towel and leave that somewhere warm for about 20 minutes. Let's make our icing glaze. We're going to need icing sugar, and through a sieve, get that icing sugar into a bowl. Our cream cheese, plant-based cream cheese, our whipping cream, and just a little bit of vanilla extract. And now we whip. Start slow, making sure that everything is incorporated, and then go crazy. Oh my.
Yeah?
Try this. Seriously.
Thank you. Oh, whoa. Yeah.
Let's place this in the fridge and keep it cool. The oven is preheated. Our cinnamon rolls have improved a little bit. Now they're gonna go into the oven and they're gonna bake for 30 minutes. Scratch 30, 20 to 25, keep an eye on them, and we'll see you back in a little bit. Oh my God, these smell delicious. I can't wait to eat them. Let's get our icing on them right now. I have a reusable piping bag. I'm gonna use a normal icing nozzle. And we have our Cool Whipped icing sugar right here. Look at that. Close it up. You ready for this?
I'm so ready for this.
Oh yeah. This is wonderful. Let it fall into every crack and crevice. Let's take one out, shall we? These are meant to be pulled and torn apart, so it's okay if it gets a little messy. Oh, gee. Yeah? You getting that?
I'm getting it.
Andy? Yeah. He's getting it. Oh, that deserves just a little bit. Why not? Ooh. You're in for a treat. I'm not good at decorating cakes. I don't really like making cakes, but when I do enjoy it. And I'm not the best at icing or making any kind of caking kind of treats, but I tried my best. Rough around the edges, a little rustic, just like me. I hope you like it. It's perfect. It's perfectly imperfect. Like and subscribe. Do all that good stuff for the YouTube.